Good evening, Professor. How are you?
Hey, Rosa, how we doing?
Doing well.
You feel confident, huh?
No,
You better not say that. Come on.
practicing.
That's
You
it.
know, I was
That's the
just
only way
thinking,
you get good at it.
I'm over here practicing by hand. I should be practicing on
With the
the
calculator.
on no, but on my finance, like how to put it in. I do it in my I'm like writing my own book. How about that?
That's fine. If it works for you, that's fine.
That's just it. I don't know if it works for me, but I'm gonna try. Gotta do what I gotta
You,
do.
that's all you can do. Do your best.
Good evening, Professor. How are
Hey,
you?
Phil, how are you?
I'm good, Professor. Thank you so much. How
All
about
right.
you?
Okay, I'm good. I'm good.
How you doing, Professor?
Okay. Hold on one second. Who was that?
That
Adele?
was me. Yeah,
Hey, how you doing, Adele?
not bad. Can't complain.
All right. Hey, Steven. All right. I want to start early because we get as much as we can. I went over chapter 6 yesterday, and if you look at the recordings, it's all there. So it's going to say review, and it was on Monday the 11th, right? Monday the 10th. So you can see it. It's there for you to review for chapter 6. I told the class that I was going to hold an additional class, and I did last night. And that was it. So you can go over that for chapter 6. Now, today we're going to go over chapter 7. And if we can, we'll do some of chapter 9. And then on Thursday, I'll be here. We'll go over some of the questions that I think that's been probably like lingering and people want to ask questions about it. We'll go over those. But basically, we're done. But Thursday we'll be going over any little, bits and pieces that you have, questions that you have. Please come in and find, the questions that you're having a problem with. Come in and we'll go over it. Do not come to me. I'm telling you right now. Do not come to me at the end of the semester to tell me that you know that I know that you know the word, but you got it wrong. That can't help you, right? So keep that in mind. That if you have a question, ask me now, right? And I don't make up your grades, you do. So keep that in mind. Anything else? Anybody has any questions? That's it. And I also said, class, there's an evaluation. If you want, please fill it out concerning me in the class. Let me know what you thought or what you think. Okay, let's start with chapter 7. Right, we're gonna same thing that was on, only one question that was not on the homework on the quiz, and we're gonna go over that. But let's start with the homework questions, and then we get a visual, and then that way it's much easier. Hold on. Okay, can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so in this situation here, it's 11,000 shares, right? And the dividend payment is 25 cents. What that means is that that's what they'll be receiving as far as their profit on owning 11,000 shares of Nike. That's their profit. That's their earnings on the shares, earnings per share, right? Now keep in mind that Nike has thousands and millions of shares of Nike that are outstanding. And when, let's say, Nike made $1 billion, right? And they have to pay, they made whatever it is, they have to pay dividends on it, right? So each person ends up with 25 cents per share, right? So what happens is, what you do here, you say 11,000 times 0.025 equals 27.50. Now, here's what happens. A lot of times, people who own 11,000 shares will not take this money. Will not take this money, right? they would rather buy more Nike shares to add to this. And this, when this happens again, it will make this, they will have more money or more shares, and that will increase their dividend amount, right? So they add to their shares. They would buy Nike shares, making this larger. Let's say this became 12,000, and they got dividend payment on 25. So then it'll go up again, and so on and so on, right? That's how it works. Now, this one, this is a visual. This is saying Class A, right? Class B has 10 times the vote of Class A. So we're assuming that it's 100 votes, 100 shares of class, right? So 100 plus 100 times 10. So we do this first. We do 100 times 10, right? 100 times 10, which is 1,000, and then we add we add 1,000. We add 100, and that's 1,100. Now to count the number of votes, right? If you have 15% of Class A, which is only 100, so you say 0.15 times 100, and then plus 24%, 0.24 times 100 times 10. So the whole thing comes out to 255, and then you divide it by 255 divided by 1,100 is 0.232. Then you convert that into a percentage. I mean, everybody should know, and I always say this, sometimes you need a little refresher or reminder. You cannot multiply a percentage. You have to convert it into a decimal, right? You move the decimal place 2 places. Always remember that, right? Sometimes you might need a little refresher on that, right? When you do a multiplication, you can't say 24. You have to say 0.24. You have to convert it. Here, it says, assume EVCO Inc. has a current stock price of 46.48 and will pay a $2.10 dividend in 1 year. Its equity cost of capital is 12%. What price you expect EVCO stock to sell immediately after the firm pays a dividend in 1 year to justify the current price? So in this one, we're going to say 46.48 times 1.12, right? Which is the future value. And then we subtract the dividend payment because we're not paying it, right? Immediately. We're not going to get it. So what we're going to do, so the formula here is 46.48, right? Price in 1 year, right? But we want to know what we're going to pay. So the future value, 46.48 times 1.12 minus 210. And that's 49.96. A lot of times, class, don't overthink this, right? Go by the formula. We know what it is, right? And then that's what we're going to use for our answer. If you overthink it, right, you're going to have a problem. Here, we're calculating the new price, right? So we're going to say first, what's the what's the percentage, right, of this dividend? It's 1.48, right, dividend one, divided by the share price, right? We get 3.963. Now, it announced that the annual dividend would increase to 175, and we need to find out what the new price is. So we're going to say 1.75 divided by this new interest rate. So we're going to convert this into a decimal. So we're going to move this two places, this point right here, two places. So it's going to be one place, put a 0 there, and put a point there. So it becomes 0.03963. Then we say 175, right? Which is what the dividend will increase by, divided by this rate of return right here. And then what we'll do, we'll say 1.5 divided by 0.03963, and that would be our new price. Let me leave this up so everybody can see this, so you're able to have the formula in case you see this on your exam. Here, very simple, 157 divided by 1906, right? So what you're trying to calculate is what was the yield, what was the percentage. Now, when you work for a firm, this is going to happen a lot. You guys might own thousands of shares of Nike. You might own thousands of shares of Apple. You might own thousands of shares of Google. And all of a sudden you get a check from one of them, right? And they send, you know what the stock price is, and you know what the dividend price is, and you want to know what your yield is, your dividend yield, right? What's my dividend yield? How much money did the stock, that we made more money? Because the thing about stocks and investments on Wall Street, right? The main thing about that is to find out if we made more than we did the previous year, right? It's always that way. You want to keep moving up. You don't want to make less. You don't want to break even, right? So did we make more money? Is this worth it? Should we sell the stock? Should we sell it and buy another one that's making more money, that's predicted or projected to make more money? So that's how things work out, right? So when you get a check and you want to make sure that last year was 7.99, this year's 8.2, so we're moving in the right direction, right? That's the way I would look at it when I get the check. And plus, your boss, he or she, wants to know if you understand what you're doing, and she'll tell me what to calculate the dividend yield on this check that we just received. And you should be able to do it, because there's no other ways of calculating these rates or these percentages. What you see here, that's the way it's done, period. Okay, this one I like because this one really shows you how things happen, right? So first thing is you get the dividend yield, right? Which is 0.95 divided by 2176. This is how the share price, that's what you got. Now, what you want to know is that your stock has grown, right? Between $23, it went from 21.76 to 23.21, right? It's always new minus old divided by old, right? And then you get your answer, times 100, okay? But they didn't have that there. But see, the thing that's good about this, right? Your capital gains mean if you had invested, this is what they're saying, if you had invested in something similar, that's what your capital gain rate is saying, right? If I had invested in Google, let's say this is Krell, my capital growth rate is if I had invested in something else, what other stocks are paying, similar stocks are paying. So this is paying 6.7. So now I want to see my total return, right? I saw exactly what my dividend payment, what my gain was, my yield here. And I also wanted to know what my capital gain is, right? And then I add them all together to get the total rate of return of 11.1. So this 4.4 plus this 6.7 equals 11.1, right? So this is a good investment, right? My stock went up in value, and also my dividend yield is pretty fair. I'm hoping that last year it's higher than it was last year. But the main thing that's great is that the stock is expected to grow. Okay, now this one right here, this is a tricky question. This is per quarter, right? This is per quarter. So you're going to take the exponent, right? The exponent of 0.175, right? Please turn off the mic. So we're going to say 1 plus 0.175, which is this converted into a decimal. Move the decimal place 2 places, right? And then we're going to say 1 plus 0.175, the exponent of 1/4. So that becomes 0.25. So 1 plus 0.175, the exponent of 0.25 divided by -1, excuse me. And then you convert that into a decimal, right? You convert that into a percentage, you know where it is, but you carry this down, and then they say that the stock, this is what it is per quarter, 58 cents. So you're going to say 0.58 divided by 0.04114. And that's the stock price share. This is the hardest part right here. Not making this mistake. Right? 1 divided by 4. Right? So we got 0.25. Keep that in mind. The mistake everybody makes is they'll say 0.58, excuse me, divided by 0.175. They forgot this part right here, per quarter. They missed this. Now, this is Lowell Enterprise expect earnings next year of 3.73 per share and has a 40% retention rate, which is planned to keep constant. Its equity cost of capital is 11%, which is also expected returns on new investments. its earnings are expected to grow forever at a rate of 4.4 per year. So this is the perpetuity formula, right? So all you need to do in this right here is to calculate what the retention amount, subtract the retention amount from here. So the way we're going to do that, we're going to say 1 minus 0.40, because I want to know what the amount is going to be per share. I don't want to know the retention amount. I want to know what the share amount is going to be. So it's going to be 0.60 times 3.73, right? That's what I want to know. And then it's $2.238, right? 2.238. And then I do my perpetuity formula, which is rate minus growth, right? Rate minus growth. It's all given to me right here. So I'm going to say 0.11, which is 11%, minus 0.044, which is 4.4. The answer I get for that. And then I say 2.238 divided by this, and will give me my current stock price of $33.91. Remember, it's not 0.40 times 373. It's 1 minus 0.40, 0.60. I want to know the stock price, not what's being retained. I want to know what it is per share, right? The earnings per share. That's what I want to know, not the amount of what's being retained. That's where the mistake happens, right? They say 0.40. That's not it. So again, take copies of this while I'm doing this with you. And also keep in mind that what we're going over, right? You've seen already, everybody did really well. Everybody did really well on this. Everybody did well, right? On the homework, on the quiz. Some people bombed out a little bit on the quiz, but most people did well. Same question. I always like doing that. Right? Same thing. Same thing. Right? The perpetuity formula. Rate minus growth. Okay. So here, this one, we do the dividend yield plus growth. So it says Cooper Mining just announced it will cut its dividend from 3.77 to 2.35 per share and use the extra funds to expand. Prior to the announcement, Cooperton's dividend were expected to grow at 3.1 rate, and its share price was 48.07. With the planned expansion, Cooperton's dividend are expected to grow at 4.6 rate. What share price would you expect after the announcement? Assume that the new expansion doesn't change Cooperton's risk. Is the expansion a good investment? So first thing we're going to do, we're going to get the dividend yield, right, which is 3.77 divided by 48.07. And then we have, what's the growth here? 3.1. So 3.77 divided by 48.07 plus this percentage right here converted into a decimal. So first we do this, and then we add this right here to it, and the answer is 0.109, excuse me, 0.109. Now, the expansion, right, we have that, and then we have the growth. So we're going to say the cost of capital, the new one, right, which is 0.109 minus the expected growth, right? And then what the extra funds. So we're going to calculate the new price. So 235, right? And then we're going to divide 0.109 minus 0.046, and that's going to equal 37.30. Now, anytime the stock price goes down, it's a bad investment. Anytime the stock price goes down, it's a bad investment. I am not going to invest in a company where the shares were at 48.07, and then all of a sudden they go into a new venture and the stock price has decreased almost by 25%. Right? I'm not going to invest in a company like that. No, why should I do that? That's not why we're in business. Okay? So that's what happened here. Now, let me show you the one that I was talking about. Give me 1 second. Okay. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this one, as you can see, right? Suppose ACAP Corporation will pay a dividend of 2.73 per share at the end of this year and 3.01 per share next year. You expect ACAP stock price to be 53.28 in 2 years. Assume that ACAP equity cost of capital is 10%. A, what price would you be willing to pay for a share of ACAP stock today if you plan to hold on to the stock for 2 years? So we need to get the present value, right, of this, right? So first thing we're going to do, you expect today. What price would you be willing to pay for a share ACAP stock today if you plan to hold the stock for 2 years? So we need to get the present value. So we're going to go in our calculator and we do it the same way. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. N equals 1. IY equals 10.8. Right? Payment is 0. Future value is 2.73. And then compute for present value. The second part, N equals 2, IY equals 10.8, payment is 0, future value is 3.01 plus 53.28, and then compute for present value. You put this answer on a piece of paper, you add both of them together, you're going to come up with 48.32. That's going to be your answer right here. Now, the second part, right? It says, suppose instead you plan to hold on to the stock for 1 year, what price would you expect to be able to sell ACAP in 1 year? So in 1 year, right? In 1 year, you're going to pay 301 plus 53.28, right? So this is what you're going to do. What price do you expect to pay in 1 year? So let's take the present value of this one. So N equals 1, IY equals 10.8, right? Payment is 0. Future value is 3.01 plus 53.28, and then compute for present value, which is $50.80, right? Now, the third part is, therefore, what price are you willing to pay for ACAP today if you plan to hold the stock for 1 year? How does this compare to A? Right? It's going to be close, right? So we're going to say 2.73, right? And then we got the 50/80 over here, right? So we're going to say N equals 1, IY equals 10.8, IY equals payment is 0, right? Future value is 2.73 plus 50/80, and then compute for present value. And you should come to close to this amount. Hold on. 48.31, right? And then it says, when you compare your answer to answer C, you see the price in part A is the same in part of price C, because you're taking the present value of the price over here, which is the 301. You're taking the present value of this right here, which is this price right here. Right? You're taking the present value of that. Now, yeah,
Yeah, could you show us how you did part A again?
part A,
Yeah.
this one right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so N equals 1, IY equals 10.8, payment is 0, future value is 2.73, and then you compute for present value. You get that answer, you hold that answer there, and then this one, as you can see, is the exponent of 2. N equals 2, IY equals 10.8, right? Payment is 0. Future value is 3.01 plus 5328. And then compute for present value. You add both of them together, you should come out to 48.32.
Would you be able to show part C?
Got it?
Yeah.
Yes? I can't see that.
Would you be able to show part C again?
You got to speak up.
Would you be able to show part C again?
Part C?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, this part right here?
Yeah.
What are you asking? Oh, you want to see it?
Oh, yeah. I got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. This is on the test, so go over it, and go over it, and you'll get it. Now, okay, so let's finish this up. Okay, so here it says Deli Enterprise is purchasing a 10.2 million machine. It costs $45,000 to transport and install the machine. Right? You buy something in Staten Island, you move it to Brooklyn, right? So the machine has a depreciable life of 5 years and will have no salvage value, right? We don't do that in this class, but if you were taking an accounting class or some other type of businesses, you would have salvage that you have to account for, right? The machine would generate incremental revenues of 3.8 per year, along with incremental costs of 1.4. If Daily's marginal tax rate is 35%, what are the incremental earnings associated with the new machine? So first thing we're going to do, we're going to put this in a bracket, right? So basically, it's the same questions that we have on the other problems, but they're just doing this a little different. So first thing you're going to do, you're going to lay out your problem, right? Your cash flow, right? Which is 3.8. That's what you're making, right? 1.4. That's what it's costing. And then we're going to have to count for depreciation. And after that, we have our tax rate, right? So here we go. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to say 10.200 plus 45,000 divided by 5. Once we get that, then we're able to go 3.8 minus 1.4 and minus this amount, whatever this comes out to. Then the answer we get, we're going to say times 1 minus 0.35. So it's going to be this answer, this whole thing here, times 0.65. And that's going to be our answer, 228,150, right? So remember, you lay it all out, right? Your cash flow, your annual incremental earnings, right? 3.8 minus your cost. This is what you're making. This is your total revenue, right? This is incremental revenue, right? 3.8 minus 1.4 minus 10.2 plus 45 divided by 5. But you do this first. And then after you're done with your parentheses, then you can do your multiplication on the side, right? Which is 1 minus 0.35, which is 0.65. Then you get 228, 150. Now, one of the things that that happens, right? Everybody has a problem sometimes, is they start to overthink this, right? They start doing things, subtracting, minusing. Follow the order of operation, right? The parentheses, right? Inside the parentheses, there's a division. You do that first, right? There was a multiplication, that would be done first, and so on, right? So this right here is first. And then you subtract these. Then you start from here, then you go over here. And then you do this, which is the times 0.65. Okay, here we're going to say 110 times 1.8 times 18. And that gives you 356, 400. They do this to fool you, right? You should know that you can't do this. This has to be converted into a percentage. So this becomes 0.18. Let me come back to this. Hold on. So here, another thing, the formula for working capital is always negative, right? But if it decreases, it becomes a double negative, then you add. So it's going to be 1 million plus 200 plus 100,000. So it looks something like this. This becomes a double negative. So you add it. All right, let me do the mini march, which is the, wait. Okay. So class, a lot of you got this right, doing the homework and doing the quiz. However, I don't know, for some strange reason, I don't know why, doing the exam, over 50%, if not more, get this wrong. Some people don't even answer it because they forgot it completely. Some people don't even answer this question, right? So it says Kokomochi. I don't want to get into all this because I want to rush into this, right? It says the ad expects to boost sales of Mini March by 7.9 this year and 5.9 next year. In addition, the company expects that new customers who try the Mini March will more likely try Kokomochi other product. As a result, sales other product expect to rise 1.9 each year. Okay, so here, Kokomochi's gross profit margin for the Mini March is 0.39, right? 39%, and the other one is 24. They're not looking for what's coming off. They're looking the net, what it's costing. So it's 1 minus 0.39. Right? So we're going to say 1 minus 0.39 is 61. So 0.61 times 7.9 million. 7.9 million, right? That's what we're going to be doing, 0.61. This one, for this one right here, we're going to say 1 minus 0.24, right, which is 0.76. So 0.76 times 1.9. So this one is 0.61. This one is 0.76. When we do both, we should come out to this answer, right? Cost of goods sold is always negative. Cost of goods sold is always negative, right? So this is a negative amount, and this is our gross profit. Now remember, in year one, we have expenses. It tells you right here, plan to spend 5.4 million on TV. So that's a negative, right? Yes.
Professor, when entering these amounts, do we need to mention negative?
Yes, you do. You can listen to me. You could do it both ways. I want to keep it formal. I don't want to tell you something that I'm not. I don't know how the system will react. Sometimes you put down the number and it's looking for a negative. So I would keep it the same format that it's on here.
So negative, we have to put it.
Yeah, the negative.
And the selling, general, and administration also negative we have to put.
Yeah, because that's coming off.
All
The
right.
same way you see it here,
Okay.
right? Don't get creative.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Not at this point of the game.
Thank you.
Don't get creative. Now, earnings before interest and taxes, it's a negative, right? Between this 3.537 and 5.4, right? So it's a negative. Now, any business that in the beginning we have lost money. So our income tax at 35%, we take 35% of this. So we're going to be getting money back because we lost money, right? So this is our first year of business. We lost 1,210,950, right? That's what our net income is, a loss. Now, second year, 5.9, same thing, times 0.61, 1.9 times 0.76. We come out to 5,043,000. The net between this, the cost of goods sold, is 2,757,000. We come down, we have no selling admin expenses, and we have no depreciation. We've made money. Now we have to pay taxes. So we pay 35% of 2,757,000, which is 964,950, and that's our answer once we make this. I tell you guys, this is where the mistake is usually made, right here. Right here. If this is wrong, then all of this is wrong. If this answer right here, these two answers are wrong, right? Then all of this is wrong. And usually this is where, yes.
I'm sorry, Professor, but while doing the homework and quiz, I didn't put any negative. I just put the amount, and it automatically did its own way.
So, well, whatever works for you, I'm just telling you the way I see it. Whatever works for you. Okay? I don't want anybody getting confused right now this is the end of the semester. But if that works for you, that's fine. But I don't want any confusions. Okay?
Thank you, Professor.
Okay, you're welcome. Now, this is the same thing, basically, right? This one, you go in and you fill it out, right? Your pro form shows sales of 952. Your cost of goods sold is 492, right? Now, there is a question on another, there's another question coming up where they want to see if you understand it. They don't put negatives except for one, right? I can't explain. I'm not the writer of these programs. The way they do this is to like one to see if you understand it and the other one to show you the accounting part. I don't know what their issues are. Okay. So here, what they do, you have the sales of 952. The cost of goods sold is 492. So the net between the sales and the cost of goods sold is 460. The depreciation is negative, of course. Then you subtract that, right? Earnings before interest and taxes, right, is 360. Now the tax is 40%. 40% of 36, right? 360 is 144. That's a negative because you made money here, right? It's going to be a negative. And then your earnings is 216. Now, your free cash flow is not 216, is going to be 316, which is the 216 plus the 100. Remember, you always add back depreciation. You always add back depreciation. Depreciation is not really a cash loss. It's just something to bring down your taxes, right? If we didn't have this depreciation here, this would have been 460 and this would have been higher. Do you understand that? That's what the depreciation does. It decreases your taxes, right? But you add it back in when you're showing your numbers to a person who's coming to invest in your company. You want to show your the pro forma free cash flow will be 316. This is how much we really made. This is how much we charge, right? But this is what we really made. Now, if I'm an investor, I'd rather see this 316 than 216 any day. Now, this one right here, this problem is like the other ones, but this one, this is considered hard. I'm telling you, as far as like level of difficulty, right? So here, you don't put negative. I guess you can, I don't know, but this is how I teach it, right? We have 4 million in sales, 2.4 million in cost of goods sold and depreciation. So both of these numbers are negative. So we bring down 1.2. The tax, right? What is that? 40%? Where is it? 33%. So it's 396, right? And this is the earnings, right? We add back the depreciation, and then net working capital went from 190, that's the only negative, went from 190 to 305. So this is a negative number. And the free cash flow is 1.089. One of the things that I learned working on Wall Street, at the bank also. There are a lot of ways of doing things, but one of the things that you have to understand, if everybody's doing something one way and you decide to do it another way, and you make a mistake, you have no one else to blame but yourself, right? So I'm not saying not to do it if you feel that, you guys are adults. You think that doing it one way is better, or as long as the answer is correct, right? That's what's going to matter. As long as the answer is correct. Because at the end of the day, when you exmit, or when you say that you're done and you have this answer is wrong, there isn't anything that I can do about it. It's wrong, it's wrong. So keep that in mind. Okay, so this question right here, remember the first part is your sunk cost, your out of pocket, right? It's negative. There isn't anything that you can do about that. You're out that money, right? So the first part, the free cash flow for year zero, right? When you first start out the business, you are out 10,150,000. Period. You're out that money, right? You're out the money. So that's negative 10,150,000. And then the second part is this, right? It's asking you the free cash flow for years 1 through 5. So here we go. We do the same thing here. 4.2 minus 1.5, right? But first we do this. We divide the purchase of the machine, and we say 0.65 times that, right? Now what it's doing right here, it's adding back the depreciation. That's all we're doing here. We get this amount, and then we add back the depreciation. So first thing we do, we say 10.1 plus 50,000 divided by 5. We get that answer, and then we add it to 435,500. Don't worry about this 0, 0. This is salvage. Don't worry about that. I don't even want to put that in your head. All right? The answer is 2,465,500. And that will be the free cash flow for when someone is looking at your books, as I explained before. This is more impressive than this. Right? So we add back the depreciation amount. Remember, I'm going to say it one more time. The first part of this question is this part right here, and it's negative, right? Because we are buying a machine and we are out the money. In this question right here, you do the same thing. However, you add back the depreciation. What people always get wrong on this, they forget the negative. And in this one, they don't add back the depreciation. That's what usually happens. Okay. Let's see my group here. All right. Anyone has any questions? All right, listen to this. On Thursday, I am going to be here. I'm always here. All right, I'm going to be here. And if you have any questions about any, I'll be here for the hour for the duration of the class time. If there are any questions that you have pertaining to any questions that you don't understand, I will resolve it. We will resolve it together. And that's it. And listen, there's an evaluation for the class and for the semester. If you get a chance, please do it. If you don't, I understand that also. And that's it. That's it. If I don't see you on Thursday, it's been a really nice class. I wish that we had, we were on campus, so I would have had the opportunity or the pleasure of meeting every one of you. And on that note, I'll see you Thursday. And on the 25th, remember, the exam is on my lab, not Blackboard. I'll be here also just to guide anybody that signs on. All right. So good night and have a great summer if I don't see you again. Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right.
Professor, at what time will the exam be open? At 8 o'clock?
Yes, 8.
Okay, great. So 8 to 10.
Right. But I'm going to have go a little longer. All right, Samir.
Okay, okay, great. Thanks
All
so
right.
much. Yes.
Okay, you're very welcome. Pleasure having you in my class.
Thank you, Professor. Have a good night.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Professor. See you Thursday.
Absolutely.
Professor, the exam is on Monday, May 25th.
Monday is not a Monday.
No, I'm sorry. It's going to be on Tuesday
Yes.
at 8 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Fine. Okay. Thank you.
All right. You're very welcome.